Welcome back to another episode of IMS Rides presented by Progressive. On this episode, we're breaking down the techniques and skills you'll need to learn to ride an adventure motorcycle just like this off-road. Before we dive in, we want to thank our sponsors Cardo Systems and Gryphon Moto for supporting this episode. Be sure to check out all their products in the links below. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and later, after this episode, head on over to continuetheride.com so you can stay up to date with all the things surrounding the Progressive IMS Outdoors Tour, which is coming this summer and fall to a city near you. To make this episode happen, we're here at RawHyde Adventures in Castaic, California. RawHyde is one of the premier adventure motorcycle training facilities here in the United States, and you can kind of think of it as a big playground for adults, a resort, and college rolled into one. Riding these big bikes off-road can be intimidating, but with proper training and ongoing practice, you'll be amazed and empowered at what you can accomplish on these big machines. Our guest star for this episode is the Ninja Natalie Duran. She's an American Ninja Warrior finalist, rock climber, and acrobat. She might be small, but she's mighty and completely stoked to take on the challenge we have set forth in front of her. Natalie's been riding motorcycles on the road for the past few years, but she's never ridden in the dirt. So we're about to change all of that moving forward. So while she goes through training, I'll be breaking down the techniques she's learning. I'll be checking in with her frequently, and hopefully somewhere along the way we'll be able to provide you with a little bit of entertainment. Before we jump into riding, every class touches on some things that they're gonna need to know, just basic theory and how to get ready to apply what is going to be taught. Little things like how to stay physically relaxed, what the basic inputs are going to do to the motorcycle, and how off-road tires achieve and lose traction. Dropping a motorcycle when learning how to ride off-road is an inevitability. Unlike small, nimble dirt bikes, adventure motorcycles have some considerable weight to them, so you got to be able to learn how to pick them up properly. This is the one-person technique to picking up a heavy adventure bike. So the first thing we're going to do is, after you've assessed yourself and you have no injuries and you're good to go, you're going to then approach the bike. First things first, we're going to sit down on the saddle, like so, with your knees bent, kind of like you're sitting and hanging out. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the handlebar all the way in. This is going to be our first point of contact on the bike. Our second point of contact is going to be one of the hard parts, usually like one of the rails here on the back of the bike. And then with our legs, we're going to push and walk back. Do not use your back or upper body at all for this. With two hand holds, knees bent, and feet, I'm just going to start walking it back. Now, because this fell on the left side, that's the side the kickstand's on. I don't want to go too far over because then I'm going to drop the bike that way. So these bikes are incredibly well balanced. Once you find a little balance point, I'm just going to hold the bike up, put our side stand down, and there you go. That's the one-person technique for picking up a motorcycle.
Basically, the first ride out is going to be pretty basic. We're going to be exiting the ranch, going onto the highway for a little bit, and then taking a quick little dip around this like meadow area. Weather's perfect. I'm a little bit cold, but once the adrenaline starts going, I'm sure it'll warm me right up. But I basically have the biggest bike out here, and it's brand freaking new with 3 miles on it. So if there's, I may put some tattoos on it today, hopefully not, but they said it's okay. So I'm just gonna be, try to be as aware as I can of my surroundings and everything like that.
The first handful of techniques the class is going to learn is getting comfortable and recognizing what it's like to lose traction. Now, that's not something many of us are comfortable with happening out on the road where we have tons of grip. In the dirt, getting comfortable with a little bit of slide or a lot of slide is critical. And once you get to that level of comfort, it's going to make you a better rider overall. The first braking technique we're going to learn is called a trail stop. This is the gradual application of the rear and front brake together without inducing a skid. Practice this by coming to a complete stop without putting a foot down, and then get going again. Our next braking technique is a panic stop. Say something jumps out on you on the trail, or you come across an obstacle you can't surmount. You need to bring that bike to a quick and safe stop.
Oh. We did it!
Bringing the motorcycle to a stop in the shortest distance possible without inducing a skid is critical for any rider. Here, we're gonna apply both brakes smoothly with gradual progression without losing traction. So the application of a panic stop is first you're gonna touch the rear brake to settle the rear of the motorcycle. And then within a microsecond, you're gonna start applying a little bit of the front brake with a gradual increasing pressure, all while not losing traction. As you come to that full stop, you're gonna put your left foot down first while keeping your right foot on the rear brake. Now, say for example, you need to put your right foot down first. Well, you still have your front brake at your disposal, so keep applying that all the way to the stop. Our last technique is the rear wheel skid. Learning to get comfortable with the rear wheel skidding is monumentally important for new riders. First things first, we need to get comfortable with the rear of the bike sliding out a bit. Not only is braking rear traction tons of fun, but it's quite possibly the biggest confidence builder for new riders in the dirt. You'll begin at a relatively safe speed with this technique, 15 miles an hour or below. Many students will be hesitant to hold the skid all the way to a stop. Let this be a gradual progression until you're comfortable all the way to the stop. As you hold the skid for longer, the rear wheel can kick out more. If that happens, remember, stay on the rear brake until you come to a stop. If the bike has kicked out far enough and you release that rear brake with any forward momentum, it's likely that the bike can regain traction and snap the rear wheel back into alignment with the front, and that can lead to a high side crash. We don't want to crash. Riders need to prioritize a couple of things as the bike slows down. The first and foremost is to look ahead in the direction of travel, keeping your head and eyes up the entire time. This will aid in maintaining balance and confidence. As the rear wheel steps out, if it's stepping out to the right, you're gonna load that outside right foot peg and keep your body upright. As for your inputs on the handlebars, nothing major, all right? So we wanna make sure that we just keep that front wheel in the direction of travel without sacrificing any traction. Because you're practicing this technique at a responsible speed, you should be able to hold the rear brake all the way to a stop.
And I am sweating profusely.
Quick little check-in. Natalie, how you feeling?
Well, the kind of routines and the drills are super amazing. I feel a lot more confident than I did this morning. So I feel pretty good.
Keep rocking. Anyone can ride a motorcycle fast, but learning how to control and operate the motorcycle at slow speed is the hallmark of a skilled rider. Body weight positioning, counterbalance, standing on the foot pegs, and managing the relationship between your clutch and your throttle are going to be foundational skills as a rider in the dirt. So to initiate a turn, there are a couple things that are happening with you, the rider, and the motorcycle. So first things first, let's initiate our turn. Say we're going to the right. We are going to momentarily push on the right foot peg to get the bike to kind of start to lean over, and we're also at the same time going to push down on the right hand grip. This will cause the bike to lean. Now with our body, we want to maintain that kind of upright position, but also as that bike leans this way, our body starts to lean off of the bike a little bit. And in order to do that, we want to twist our hips. And in order to twist our hips, we need to reposition our foot. So our toe kind of shifts inward, our knee locks into the tank, we're able to twist the hips off. We're able to really center the direction of our whole entire upper body. As that handlebar turns, our upper body stays parallel with it. And then we're going to be able to really maintain easy, good control on the hand grips. Because our lower body and our core are engaged, we're able to keep our upper body really, really loose, allowing for precise inputs on our clutch and our throttle. Also, don't forget, look where you want to go. So if we're turning to the right, I want to be able to look all the way to the right. All right, y'all. Day 2, RawHyde Adventures, learning how to ride an adventure motorcycle. Ready for it?
Well, yeah, today is a true test. It's applying all the drills and skills I learned yesterday and making sure I don't have short-term memory loss. So we'll find out the application of that.
You're gonna kill it.
Thanks.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Let's see how Natalie does today. I'm genuinely curious as to what the great equalizer for her might be. I have a feeling it's gonna be sand or hill restarts. Hill restarts might be hard for her only because of her, it's hard for her to touch the ground. So if that terrain is uneven, it could pose a slight problem, but I don't call her a ninja for no reason, man. She's a machine. She's just so focused. Watching her kind of just harness this 1250 GS is really rad. So when riding a motorcycle, the ground is not always flat. You need to remember that. Camber refers to the slope of a hill or the ground itself. When the ground is on camber or has a positive camber, that means it has a slope that's more forgiving in the direction that you're traveling, and you'll sacrifice less lean angle, which means you can effectively have a little bit more traction. Think about an on-ramp or an off-ramp to the highway. That's an on-camber or positive camber turn. Now, off-camber or negative camber turns slope in the opposite direction and can cause you to lose traction quicker. So it's important that you overemphasize proper body weight and counterweight positioning techniques when riding off camber. Going up a positive camber hill like the one you see behind me is about setting your speed early on and maintaining that momentum all the way through the turn. As you're turning the motorcycle, you're going to be applying proper body weight and counterbalancing techniques by loading that outside foot peg. Remember to look all the way through your turn, stay slightly on the gas. Consequently, if you're going down a positive camber hill, you can use a little bit of that rear brake to settle the rear and also slide it out a little bit. This actually enables you to create a little bit of a direction change with that rear brake skid. However, be warned, going downhill on camber turn, if you hold that rear brake for a little too long, you could be going down.
Okay, hold on. Let me get the dust and dirt off of me.
All right, we're halfway through day 2. How do you feel?
Actually, I wanted to fall because if I get out there in the real off-roading world and I've never taken a fall before, I'm just going to be constantly thinking what it feels like. And I know every situation's super different, but yeah, it's nice. It's not that bad.
So do you know what you did wrong when you laid the bike down there?
Yeah, we did a couple laps on the downhill camber by that point, and I really want to experiment more with the rear braking to kind of like whip it out, but I think I was focusing more on whipping it out and not really leaning in too much into it. And I believe there was like a little soft patch, and I turned into it a little bit too jerky and then let in a little gas too like fast, and that just low-sided me immediately.
Yep, kick that back end out.
Right.
And on the note of soft surfaces, sand is gonna come up in the afternoon. That'll be fun.
Okay.
And we're gonna do some hill climbs and hill ascents, and let's go eat, yeah?
Yes, hungry.
Good job.
Ouch! That was aggressive!
So you've decided to go down a steep hill on a big adventure motorcycle. So in order to do that, it's going to require proper application and good braking technique. You've made the decision to go down, you need to make it to the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to manage our speed as we go down. To do this, we're going to momentarily settle the bike with very light application of the rear brake, but we're going to heavily prioritize smooth application of the front brake. To descend a hill, we're going to drag that front brake, causing the brake pads to just sandwich themselves on the rotor and just create some friction as we go down. If you hear your brake pads and rotors starting to squeal a little bit, that's a good sign. You're in the sweet spot. As for your body position, we're going to maintain nice relaxed upper body, and we're going to move our body weight back so most of our mass is sitting over the rear wheel. We're going to talk about hill climbs. These big adventure motorcycles have a ton of power, and we're going to take advantage of that to climb a hill. So we're going to choose first or second gear and tractor up. Our body is going to lean forward over that front tire so that we can maintain direction and traction. Now remember, when you get to the summit of the hill, we're going to manage our speed by getting off of the throttle and being prepared to make a trail stop. If you don't know what hill you're climbing, you have no idea where that trail may lead. It could go off a cliff, it could take a sharp 90-degree turn. We want to be able to think ahead. So nice, steady, slow speed once you get to the top of the hill, and then establish where you're going to go from there. All right, invariably there's going to come a time when you are going up a hill and you just don't make it. Either you stall the motorcycle, you hit something and have an unscheduled dismount, and you're on that hill, and you want to go up the rest of it. So What we're gonna do is we're gonna point the bike up the hill. We're gonna stay on that rear brake so that the bike doesn't inch backwards. We're gonna get the bike into around 2,500 RPM in the throttle, and then we're slowly gonna start to ease out that clutch. Get the traction, hook up, take yourself up the hill. Let's actually see if Natalie can do it right now.
Nice.
Yo.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Come on, Ninja.
Nice. Oh, dang. Oh, damn it. I know you guys wanted that.
Yo, that was hard though. I hope I never ever stall out on a hill. And the joke was, like, I even had hill climb assist on this 1250, and it still was like difficult as heck. So yeah, I'm just gonna blow it through hills now and never stall out on a hill. So.
Hey everybody, welcome to the sand pit. Sand is one of the lowest traction surfaces you're gonna encounter on an adventure motorcycle. People either love it or they hate the stuff. But once you learn the techniques to properly traverse sand, it can be a lot of fun. The first thing we wanna do when going through sand is to maintain our vision, looking up and ahead of us, both to anticipate what's coming because sand shifts and changes, and also we're not wanting to look down at the motorcycle, which is squirming, and we're gonna wanna try to control that. Don't worry, it moving around underneath you is normal. The technique is to maintain loose contact on your controls. Staying relaxed is key. The best way to do that is to engage your lower body and your core. Get those feet nice on the pegs and tight against the tank, and get comfortable with the bike kind of shifting around with you. Under constant speed, the motorcycle wants to stay upright, and the front wheel wants to self-correct and track in a straight line. Because it's such a loose surface, it's gonna take it a little bit longer for that front wheel to find its way back into line. Smooth and consistent speed is your friend in the sand. The last thing you wanna do is chop the throttle off. That's gonna cause a weight transfer forward, which is then gonna cause the front wheel to bury itself and throw you off the bike. So then next thing you know, you're taking a nap on the beach. Instead, you're gonna wanna trim or manage your speed. And we're gonna do that subtly. And the ways that we can do that is we can kind of touch on the rear brake, which will squat the rear of the bike, and that can in turn kind of get a little bit more traction going. And the other is to modify the power output with your clutch. The big takeaway here is going through sand is you need to maintain that speed. You're on a big heavy bike because once you stop or you lose that momentum, it's really hard to get going again.
You're a pro.
I figured it out. Just keep going. Just keep swimming.
Keep going, man.
That's the lesson in sand. Just keep swimming. Don't let off the throttle. Just freaking send it.
Although, that's 3.
Hip, yeah. I'm starting to feel the stuff on the body now. Yeah. The hip hurts.
Still.
Hurts a little bit.
Still better than anyone I've ever seen go through this course, man. You're killing it.
All right, we're done for the day.
No!
So we're in the hall because it actually started raining and we made it just in time. You guys that are going to BCA are gonna have to deal with all of that. But how was Introduction to Adventure?
Yo, I honestly think, reflecting on now, this is probably one of the top 3 weekend experiences I've undertaken. And it totally trumps over music festivals XYZ because it's not just, it's fully immersive. It's not just an experience. You're not just riding the motorcycle. You're learning so much about your mentality, how you deal with failure, learning about your body. And what I've learned, it was the most impactful for me, is the camaraderie of the people around you. Like everyone in my class was maybe a few decades older than me, but I saw the child within them, and it actually inspires me to not drop my passion. Like the older I get doesn't mean I have to like age into it. So it's cool seeing these people. They're all very successful, but they have to like come here. There's something inside of them that needs to take this class. So that's really, that was the most impactful for me.
What were the 3 times you dropped the bike?
Oh yeah.
Only 3. Only 3.
Yeah, so the first day I didn't drop a bike at all, and I was saying I used all my brownie points yesterday. But in all honesty, I did want to fall on a bike. I mean, it sounds really weird, but just because I wanted to know my limit. And through those 3 falls, I've learned so much more in body awareness and just like texture of the ground. So I don't regret those falls at all.
Awesome. Are you gonna go buy an adventure bike now?
Yo. I just bought a stunt motorcycle like last week, and now I want like freaking GS 1250s.
She rode it like a champion. Everybody, I hope this has inspired y'all to get into adventure motorcycling, or ride a motorcycle, or at least take a professional motorcycle course where you can expand your skills.
Take a course.
You can do it. It's completely possible, and there are so many resources out there. I want to thank RawHyde Adventures for being able to let us come here and do this. Cardo for our communication system and enabled me to kind of stay in communication with Natalie. While she was getting instruction, I was actually able to kind of reinforce some of the things that she was doing, and also get some of that information to her where I was like, all right, get your foot back on the foot peg, get that body weight over, turn your head a little bit more. It was awesome. And it was also fun just to be able to razz you a little bit because you weren't dropping.
Yeah, the stupid voice in my head. No, I'm just kidding. He was a good coach. He was a good coach. So.
And also to Gryphon Moto for providing us with the gear to keep her.
I got my
I want to say to like keep you safe, but you didn't really have a lot of dismounts.
I mean, I have no road rash, but I call it a success.
Yeah, and it's
Maybe
great.
some internal bleeding, but we'll find that out tomorrow morning.
Kept us very nicely insulated and also kept you protected on the motorcycle.
For sure.
To learn more about anything that we're doing here with IMS Rides, subscribe to ContinueTheRide.com, where you can see all of the IMS Rides episodes on our YouTube channel. You follow us on all of our social media channels. You can see all the links and everything that we're doing. Follow Ninja Natalie.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If any of you guys have any questions on my experience personally, like send me a DM on Instagram at ninja_Natalie. I'm happy to answer it for you guys.
Or throw it down in the comments
Yeah.
below and hit that subscribe button. 2 days of awesomeness. We are out. Remember, ride smart, ride safe, and we'll see you out there on the road.